All right, everyone, welcome back for another deep dive with us.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to be looking at two pretty big stories that are going around the entertainment world right now.
Right.
One of them is about the passing of Atlanta rapper Young Scooter.
Yeah.
And the second one is about the very public and intense statements that Cardi B has been making online about Offset.
Right.
And the source that we have for this deep dive is a transcript from a recent Breakfast Club Power 105.1 FM YouTube video.
Yes.
So that's kind of the mission for today, is to look through those statements and figure out, what exactly is being reported and try to understand the events that are happening without getting too much into speculation or rumors or anything like that.
Definitely.
So yeah, should we jump into the Young Scooter situation first?
Yeah, let's start with that.
So there was a lot of conflicting information,
Right.
kind of right after the news broke. And some early reports even suggested that he had been shot by police, which is obviously a very serious allegation.
Absolutely.
And so,
I think the transcript that you shared actually highlighted that that initial wave of misinformation. And then it goes on to, clarify things and gives us the official account from the Atlanta Police Department as it was relayed on the Breakfast Club.
right.
So, that was definitely helpful
Right.
in terms of just trying to get a better grasp of what actually went down.
Yeah. And they start by describing this 911 call that came in that, describes a dispute where shots were fired.
Right.
And also, this claim that a woman was drugged
Oh, wow.
and taken back into a residence.
Oh, my goodness.
So it already sounds like a very chaotic and potentially dangerous situation right from the beginning.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it goes on to say that the police arrive at the scene and, a male opens the door,
Yeah.
closes the door, and doesn't interact with them.
Okay.
And then two males are seen fleeing the location.
Yeah.
And then they say they were not able to locate the woman who was supposedly drugged.
Okay.
And they also couldn't find any evidence to back up that claim.
Interesting.
So that's where it starts to get a little murky and confusing.
Really.
And then they move into describing how young Scooter was injured,
Okay.
which, according to the police, was not from gunfire at all.
Oh, really?
They said that he sustained fractures to his leg while attempting to jump a fence,
Oh, wow.
and that was what caused the bleeding.
Oh,
And they're very explicit in saying that officers were not involved in any shooting incident.
okay.
So,
That is important to clarify.
yes,
Jim.
obviously.
Yeah.
And the timing of it is just incredibly sad. It was his 39th birthday weekend when all of this happened.
Oh, my gosh. It's awful.
And it also is a pretty stark reminder about how quickly misinformation can spread,
Right.
especially online,
Absolutely.
So you have these early reports that are saying one thing, and then you have the police coming out and saying, something else entirely.
Yeah. And I think the transcript also mentions that they reached out. Yes.
To the Atlanta PD for any updates or developments.
Right.
So it sounds like this is kind of an ongoing story.
Yeah.
There are still some unanswered questions.
Right.
So hopefully more will come out.
Right. And we'll kind of get a better understanding of what actually happened.
Hopefully.
Yeah. So let's completely shift gears now
Okay.
and move into the Cardi B and Offset situation.
Okay. Yeah.
So Cardi B recently took to X Spaces,
Yeah.
and she was very clearly upset with Offset,
Mm-hmm.
and, sharing her grievances publicly.
Right.
The first audio clip that the transcript highlights really sets the tone
Uh-huh.
for, the conversation, or I guess the series of accusations that she's making.
Right.
She's talking about how he ruined her Valentine's Day.
Oh, wow.
And you can just kind of hear the distress in her voice.
Uh-huh.
And she even mentioned something about his suicidal state.
Oh, okay.
And she's talking about how she has been collecting evidence.
So it seems like she was deliberately planning to kind of share all of this publicly.
Okay, so that's kind of the lead-in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it moves into a second audio clip
Right.
where she starts to make much more specific and honestly pretty disturbing allegations.
Okay.
So she starts by saying that Offset was upset because she had sent text messages to his girlfriend.
Okay.
And apparently in these text messages,
Yeah.
he was begging Cardi B
Oh, wow.
to reconcile
Uh-huh.
and also allegedly threatening to harm himself and her.
Oh, my goodness.
So that's kind of the first accusation that she makes.
That's heavy.
Yeah. And then she goes on to say that he was sending private messages that detailed their sexual activity
Too.
to someone that Cardi B was involved with.
Oh, wow.
And she kind of frames this as a pattern of harassing behavior. especially when she travels.
Okay.
She says he's constantly leaving her voice notes that are meant to erode her self-esteem.
Oh, my goodness.
And she claims that both Offset and his girlfriend have left explicit voicemails on her phone.
Oh, my gosh.
And then there's this whole part about her confronting Offset's girlfriend.
Oh, really?
Who was apparently dismissive of her and allegedly said that she had been in Cardi B's house.
Oh, wow.
And then even further, she claims that Offset was on a FaceTime call.
Oh, my goodness.
With his girlfriend.
Yeah.
While he was harassing Cardi B.
Oh, my God.
And then it gets even more serious.
Okay.
She accuses him of harassing her friends and even sending people to assault one of them.
Oh, my.
So these are some pretty serious allegations.
Yeah, definitely.
And as the hosts of the Breakfast Club were talking about, these are very serious claims, especially given that they have children together.
Right. It's a whole family situation.
Right. And what I thought was really interesting is how the hosts then connect Cardi B's public disclosures to the broader topic of, why victims of abuse are sometimes hesitant to come forward.
Right. They're saying that, some people might criticize her
Yeah.
for sharing this publicly.
But her actions could also be seen as a reflection of the immense frustration and difficulty that victims face
Right.
when trying to have their experiences acknowledged.
Yeah, sometimes there's nowhere else to turn.
Right.
And it feels like that's the only way to be heard.
Exactly. And then they move into talking about, if Cardi B really does feel threatened
Yeah.
by this alleged talk of suicide and murder, then she really should involve the authorities
Yeah, for sure.
to ensure her safety and the safety of those around her.
Of course.
And then they get into talking about how there's this information going around that Offset might have been seeking professional help.
Okay.
And they reference this prior clip from their show
Mm-hmm.
with Jason Lee and Dr. Shan Bryant.
Okay.
And they were saying that it seems like his attempt to seek help was initially misconstrued as him sliding in DMs.
Oh, wow. So it was taken out of context.
Completely.
Okay.
And it caused this really negative backlash.
Well, that's awful.
And, they talk about how when the full context was revealed, it became clear that he was actually trying to reach out.
To get help.
To get help, yeah.
Okay.
And they basically end by saying that they hope that Cardi B and Offset can ultimately find a way to co-parent peacefully
Right.
for the well-being of their children while acknowledging that the issues that they're dealing with are very serious.
Yeah.
So it's a very messy and complicated situation.
Definitely. And a lot of hurt, it
yeah,
seems like.
and a lot of pain on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, overall, it's clear that neither of these stories is over.
Right.
We don't have all of the information yet. We might never get all of the information.
Right.
But it's important to pay attention to what's being reported.
Yeah.
And to, consider the different perspectives that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
But it also makes you think, with all of this information kind of flying around about both young Scooter and Cardi B and Offset,
Right.
like, what does this say about the way that we receive information as individuals and as a society?
That's a really good question.
Especially with the speed of the news cycle now and social media.
Right.
Like, it's so hard to know what's true and what's not.
It's so fast-paced.
So fast-paced.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely a good question to ponder.
Yeah. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah.
Well, thank you all for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.
Until the next one.
See ya.
Bye.